Hi everyone. Well, hi, one person in particular. Trillian 5757. Hang on a minute. Oh, this stupid face really hurts. Anyway, it's gone now. Forget all about that now. Hi love. Now, the question you asked was some of the happiest experiences I've had, bar for children. Who said childbirth was a happy experience? But anyway, I know what you mean. There are two which stick out in mind. I mean, most of the time I'm happy, unless I'm sad, but most of the time I'm happy. And there are two which stick out in mind. One, I can sincerely say, was the happiest time of my life. And it wasn't one of the ones where you accept Jesus or any of those. It actually was on my eldest daughter's wedding day. There are very few times when you actually recognize a happy experience because you're too busy, you're going through it, so you don't recognize it, you know, and you might at the end of the day have that nice warm cuddly feeling, but basically it's gone before you've recognized it. But this particular day, for various reasons, she was not allowed, or she couldn't get married in our local church. And one of the main ones was she just lived outside of the parish. So she got married in a local registry office. But I had a number of our friends, you know, with us. And she walked in, and her mother-in-law-to-be walked in through first and said, "Oh, she looks beautiful." And I thought, well, you would say that, not knowing her that well then. My Tina walked in, and she was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now, we all know we think that of our own children. Halfway through the wedding, well, at the very beginning of the wedding, she burst out crying, and she couldn't stop. You know how you do with nerves? Well, I was aware of all this prayer from behind me coming over my head. Now you're going to say, was that? No, that wasn't the happiest time. We then had a lovely little, it was in, they were both post people, postmen, women. And we had it in a restaurant called the Post House. And we had a really nice guy who had been a Methodist preacher all his life. And he just said one or two little lovely words. Was that the nicest time? No. Because I was too busy being mum and, oh my goodness, is that person sitting right, and and is that right, and is Kerry got a smile on her face? Because poor Kerry, she never used to have a smile on her face, and yet she used to be alright, but she never had this smile on her face. So that wasn't it. But as the afternoon progressed, we had one photograph taken, and this one photograph was very special, and do you know, it went missing and we never found it. And it was a photograph that Kez took of Tina and Andy, and it was just before the heavens opened, and behind them was as black in the sky, but on the other side behind Kerry was the brightness. So somehow the brightness was shining down on them, and it was just as if God was saying, that's behind them. All the darkness, all the hurt, all the pain, all the whatever is gone. Was that the nicest time? Well, no, because I didn't know at the time. But then coming home, in between the afternoon time and the evening dew, and I remember for some reason I was on my own, I don't know why, whether Colin had brought home Kerry or something, and I was travelling over the crossings, and well, I had to stop first because there was a train coming, and I remember this feeling coming up, and it was coming up from right down inside of me, and I couldn't stop it, and as the train was racing, so inside of me was coming this tremendous happiness that my babe, the one who I'd wanted, you know, the one who I wanted to fall in love and get married, have a baby girl, done it all by the time I was 20. And here she was, 20 years later, getting married. Well, married, done, kaput, finished. Her life was just starting. And it was as if I'd come to completion. I'd done it. And I remember this tremendous feeling of happiness, and then going to the night do, and I watched my girl become a woman. She never drank all night, and she went from person to person. Were they all right? Did they have enough food? Did they have enough drink? And I just sat back. And I thought, that's it, I've done it. And I had delivered my girl into the world. So that was the happiest time of my life. And then, just to add another happy time, this was a different time. This was when, you know how through your life, you know, you're not particularly looking forward to dying, you know, that type. And I went to a Women's Aglow conference, and I mean, I wasn't as spiritual as people seem to think, but I went to this Women's Aglow conference, and we'd had praise and worship. Now, some of you will know exactly what I'm talking about. And it had been a wonderful conference, and this was the end of a conference. So we'd had a lot of teaching, a lot of fellowship. I bought 1 or 2 books, which, you know, well, the computer's taken over now, but I used to love books and reading. So I sort of got this pile of books for my year to sort of go home and read for the next year. And then this person sort of said, you know, well, let's just praise the Lord before we finish. Well, let's just praise the Lord. I don't know what it is. You sort of look at all these people and think, what on earth are they about, you know? Because we British, you don't do things like that, you see. And I don't know, it was just something which we had the most wonderful praise and worship session. And it got right to the very end, and we were asked to hold hands. And on one side of me, we have a local lady who is, you know, very, very well off, does a lot of charity work. Beautiful lady, beautiful lady. And then on the other side of me, we had a really nice, quite posh lady. And I remember tears streaming down my face, going right down my neck. And you know when you just suddenly have that thought, have I washed my neck? Because I was aware there would be streams going down my neck. Now I know you all wash your necks, but I sort of thought, well, I know I've done my face, I've given it a cat lick, but have I done my neck? And all of a sudden it didn't matter. It didn't matter. And we were all one. Right across the room, all these different ladies from the higher levels to the lower levels, you know, black, white, sky blue, pink. We were all one. And suddenly, it was as if we touched heaven. And from that day on, I have never been afraid to go to glory, because suddenly I knew that there was something. Now I know it might have been emotional, but it wasn't that. It was that step further than emotional. So, Trillian, those are just 2 moments when I was really, really happy. Okay, that's my clicky bar saying I'm out of here. God bless you. Bye.